Hello everyone, this is Arlane, and welcome to part 2 of my breakdown of Closer Parentheses Change Your Mind. So I decided to just explain the first breakdown here because there's a lot I want to talk about in the second breakdown, and I decided I'll just explain the first breakdown. Also, I forgot to mention the white noise in the first part, so I'll just talk about this very quickly right now. So with the white noise, I use 3x oscillator. I basically just put on all three of these dots. It's how you create the white noise, and I just put it on a note, whatever note, it doesn't really matter. And then I really cut a lot of the frequencies out, and I just added kickstarts. I explained why I did these different ones in the first part, but basically the leads have the first free punch preset, so I just added it very low. And then for everything else, I did a classic sidechain. That's just to make everything tighter and cleaner. Alright, now that I explained the white noise, I'm going to explain everything in the first break. So, first off, I'm going to explain the vocal. So it sounds like this.
I wanna change your mind and bring you in close to me.
So it's a vocal from Splice. It's from Aloma Steel's pack. I forget what it's called, but you could search up Aloma Steel and you'll probably find it. Really good vocal. So what I did here, I already did the wet and processed version, so I didn't have to do too much here. But I basically just moved some really bad low and I reduced the frequencies. And I reduced the mids and increased the highs. I did a CDR Nova to do some de-essing. As you see, it's decreasing whenever it's an S. And then I do a compression and limiting. Or I just did compression here, but... And then I did some more cutting here. And I did some dynamic EQ here. And then finally a limiter. And then finally I could explain this, so I'll explain this with the piano. So we're just gonna play the piano quickly, and it sounds like this. I just shaped it with the EQ, a big fire to make it vibier. I don't know. OTT, saturation. I explained all this previously. And then I did this peak control and the reverb to make sure the reverb is decreased a bit when the dry signal plays, makes it cleaner. And the limiter. And then finally, I could explain what this EQ does. I showed this briefly in the first part, but this is on like every single sound in the song. And what this does is it decreases certain frequencies when the vocal plays. So I'll demonstrate this with the piano. So as you can see, I'll just open up each of these individually. So what this does is, with this peak controller, I basically reduce some frequencies to make it sound cleaner. This is really good in order to make your vocals pop out more in the mix. You basically, with an EQ, you just you boost a lot of the gain and you find some frequencies where the vocals super present, and then you decrease dynamically those frequencies and all the other sounds of the song. Alright, now I'm going to explain the drop chord, the rolling chords, and that gives it that 2015 progressive house feel. They sound like this. And this is the MusicCore chord lights preset from MusicCore Lost. And for this, I opened it up with an automation, so get more high end appears over time. So with this, I did some basic EQing, bigifier to make it open, OTT, saturation, all of that stuff. EQing, limiting, and then that same vocal EQ that I showed you earlier. And then I have some distorted guitar power chords. This is what makes the second part of the break so special and makes it sound super powerful. These guitars, they sound like this. I use DVS Guitar. This is a really good free guitar plugin. So I recommend get it if you haven't yet. You can check it out if you haven't yet. I basically made them wider with this Ojo imager. I distorted them. I added Fruity Blood Overdrive. It's a really good distortion plugin. And then I decreased some of the frequencies here. And then I did a guitar saturation thing with the bigifier, OTT. And then with this EQ, I cut a lot of these highs out, because they sounded super dirty and didn't fit well in the mix. I just wanted this to give a bit more power to the first break. And then a limiter, and then the same EQ. I'm not going to explain it every time, but that's on every sound. So expect an EQ at the very end of everything. And then we have a respace. It sounds like this. This is... I made this preset really quickly. It's just a simple respace, but it has a low cut, so it doesn't have any low end. And I have this right here. It makes the respace have a bit more movement. I learned this from Wildcrow, so shout out to him. I did some EQing, the bigifier to make it fuller. Camera crushing OTT and a patcher because I needed more effects because there wasn't enough room. And then more EQing. An imager to make it actually more mono, so it's too wide, and then limiter, and then that's it. And then I had the same sub bass from the break, but it's at 3 decibels quieter, so nothing too special here. And then we have this ARP, so I briefly showed with this in the previous part by accident, but here's what it sounds like now. Here's the ARP. It sounds like this. So this is Sound 1 preset. It's a MuseScore Pluck Tomorrow. And for this, I did some EQing, bigifier, all of that stuff. I actually use more spacings to make it sound cooler. OTT, saturation, fresh air. Now this is a really cool plugin. It basically just adds a nice high end to your sounds. So if you want more high end in your sounds, just use this plugin. And then EQ to make it sound cleaner, and a limiter, and then these kickstarts are disabled for the breakdown, but I also have this in the intro, so that's why I have these kickstarts. And then, is there anything else in here? Oh yeah, I could briefly explain the build-up too. So, yeah, but that's all basically all the sounds. Oh yeah, I forgot to explain. This also opens up over time. So, just like the rolling pads. So you can see it opens up. So now we're going to briefly explain the build-up drums and all that stuff. So these snares sound like this. And I just did some sounds from the drop. I also described the empties in this first part. And then I have some uplifters. And a fill. Alright, and lastly, I just move the sub bass as the buildup goes. That's good to do because it makes the drop more powerful. And then lastly, I just filter the leads. Of course. And then they're fully open and have sidechain. Obviously, it's like sounding bad because the leads take up a lot of CPU. But that's basically the first breakdown. So that I'm going to explain there's a lot more stuff to explain in the second breakdown, so that's why I'm just explaining this differently. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Next part will explain the second breakdown, which I think is super interesting, so I can't wait for you guys to see that. So, so I have the sub drop. I might as well explain this, because why not? I have it in the build-up. So I just did it in EQ and limited it. I just cut off this very brief thing that was on top to make it sound a tiny cleaner. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Follow me on my socials. Links are in the description. And part 3 will be posted tomorrow on the second breakdown. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.